All right, Chair, we are live.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Welcome and good morning, everybody. We're going to call to order the March 14th, 2025 meeting of the Nevada Sentencing Commission. And welcome to everybody that's on our YouTube channel watching online. This is the 12th meeting of our 2023-2025 meeting cycle. And I will ask Director Powers, if you would please go ahead and take the roll.
Thank you, Chair. John Arascata. Dr. Bradley.
Present.
Suzanne Crawford.
Present.
Christopher DeRico.
Here.
James Zarenda. Aaron Evans.
Present.
Evelyn Grosnick.
Present.
Christopher Hicks.
Here.
Mark Jackson.
Here.
Troy Jordan.
Here.
Franklin Katchke. Dr. Lanterman. Joshua Martinez. John McCormick.
Here.
Julia Murray.
Here.
John Ponder. Stephanie Schumann. Erica Souza Yamas. Judge Yeager.
Here.
Assemblywoman Considine. Assemblyman Hibbets. Senator Scheibel. Senator Krasner. Vice Chair Brady. Chair Herndon.
Present.
Chair, we do not have a quorum at this time.
Okay. Yeah, I feared that was probably going to be the case with the legislative session still going on. Okay. We will kind of, how many more do we need to have a quorum, Georgia?
Just one.
Okay. We'll kind of keep track and see if anybody joins us during the meeting. We'll go ahead and move to agenda item number 2, public comment. This is the first period of public comment. There will be 2 periods of public comment, one now and then one at the end of the meeting. Members of the public have 2 options for submitting public comment. First, they may do so in writing by emailing the Department of Sentencing Policy at sentencingpolicy@ndsp.nv.gov. Public comment received in writing is provided to all of our members. Members of the public who wish to testify may also do so by telephone. Due to time constraints, public comment is limited to 2 minutes. Any member of the public who exceeds the 2-minute limit may submit further comments in writing. And callers, as a reminder, please mute the device on which you are watching the meeting when you're actually talking on the phone. That way all the sound will come through your telephone. And at this time, we'll go ahead and ask staff to manage and direct those who wish to testify by telephone, if we have any. So, Jenna?
Thank you, Chair. Members of the public who would like to testify by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. When it is your turn to speak, press *6 to unmute, and then please slowly state and spell your first and last name. Caller with the last 3 digits, 948. Please slowly state and spell your first and last name for the record. You will have 2 minutes. Caller with the last 3 digits, 948. Please slowly state and spell your first and last name for the record. Then press *6 to unmute. You will have 2 minutes. You may begin now.
Good morning. My name is Jody Hocking. I'm the founder and director of Return Strong. We're an organization that represents incarcerated people and their families, all who are stakeholders who are directly impacted by Nevada sentencing laws and policies. We are giving comment today to identify some of the issues that we hope that you'll consider working on this year. SB 307, implementation and oversight. NDOC has to be held accountable for transparency and reporting data on solitary confinement and ensuring compliance with timelines for reducing its use. Access to data and transparency, specifically around use of force, violence, and deaths in custody. Families and advocates need a clear and accessible process for obtaining information on these issues. Parole board and probation reform. The current system under public safety is extremely punitive and not rehabilitative. We need to explore PMP being moved under, parole being moved under NDOC and ensure conditions of supervision are fair and not setting people up for failure. In addition, both the parole board and the pardons board are rife with problems that are swept under the rug and stay invisible. We need accountability for that. Restorative and alternative sentencing. We need real investments in sentencing alternatives that reduce incarceration and prioritize rehabilitation. And Nevada needs a Second Look Act to allow sentence reviews after a significant portion of time has been served. People change in our sentencing law should reflect that by having a mechanism to reevaluate excessive sentences. Finally, we would like to see more data and work done in the area of conditions of confinement and healthcare and medical neglect, mental health care failures, and discriminatory processes inside NDOC facilities are persistent and harmful, and they need to be addressed head on, beginning with really getting an understanding of where they are. We're asking if these issues be prioritized because they directly impacted people's lives both inside and outside of prison. We appreciate all of your work and look forward to opportunities to engage in these discussions and push for real change.
Thank you, caller. Chair, we have no more callers who would wish to participate at this time.
All right, thank you, Jenna. We'll go ahead and close the first period of public comment. I believe Mr. Shine indicated that Senator Scheibel, well, there she is. Hi, Melanie. We should now have a quorum. Yes, Director Powers?
Yes, Director, we have quorum.
Great. All right, we'll move on to
Chair.
agenda item number 3, which is the members should have been provided copies of the minutes from our November 1st, 2024 meeting. So wanted to see if anybody has any corrections or edits to those minutes. I am not seeing any hands. Does anybody care to make a motion to entertain the approval of the minutes?
Chair, this is John McCormick. I move we approve.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second. This is Judge Yeager.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Okay, we will note the approval of our minutes. Moving on to agenda item number 4. This will be a report from our director at the Department of Sentencing Policy. Our director is statutorily mandated to update the commission on sentencing and related issues regarding the functions of the department. We'll have her provide this report and update us on recent activities. And I will turn it over now to Director Powers. So Director Powers, if you would, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Commission. Let me share my screen. All right. So in our administrative realm, we had 2 vacant positions, and our AA3 was promoted to another agency, and our MA1 moved out of state. But both vacancies will be filled on Monday, and we look forward to welcoming our new staff. Regarding our budget, we will be renewing our lease at our current location. We continue to administer and monitor the Nevada Local Justice Reinvestment Coordinating Council grant funds. Our management analyst 3, Marie Bledsoe, and I were able to perform site visits to grantee programs in Southern Nevada last week. We visited the Las Vegas Municipal Court's Mental Health Court, the City of North Las Vegas Youth Court, Nevada Outreach Training Organization, which is a victim services organization in Pahrump, and the Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow, from whom you will hear shortly. All of these programs are working hard to fulfill their missions. For the commission, I would like you to save the date for the 2025 annual conference of the National Association of Sentencing Commissions. This year will be a 2-day format and will be held August 11th and 12th in Madison, Wisconsin. Please consider attending this event. There is much information on what is happening with sentencing commissions and legislation nationwide. The department anticipates having funds to assist with travel and/or registration. In our data realm, the NDSP data section remains busy with projects regarding the prison population and other criminal justice topics. You will hear one of the latest, the DOC's youthful population, in Agenda Item 7. With legislative session in full swing, we have been busy answering ad hoc data and research questions for legislators and stakeholders. And as always in outreach, we are continuing to research ways and meet with others to access a more complete view of the Nevada criminal justice system. In February, we presented an overview of the department to both the Assembly and Senate Judiciary Committees. And that is the report. Thank you.
I was muted. I'm sorry. Does anybody have any questions for Director Powers? Do we know, Georgia, the meeting that you referenced in Madison, Wisconsin, when they'll have any type of agenda for that? That kind of lets us know exactly when everything starts and finishes up.
They just closed the request for submissions for the breakout sessions. And
Okay.
so it will be probably another month, honestly, until we have an agenda.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, then we will close that agenda item. And I apologize, on agenda item number 5, should have let everybody know this ahead of time, but we've kind of been running Mr. McCormick a little ragged with the legislature being in session. So I'm going to ask to pass this until the July meeting to get us past the end of the legislative session. And then we'll get everything back on track and we can get a report from Mr. McCormick at that time. Okay, Ms. Powers?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we will move to agenda item number 6, which is our reentry presentation. Reentry programs in the community support justice involved individuals with training and resources to facilitate successful reintegration into society, reducing recidivism, and improving public safety. We're going to hear a presentation from Michael Hollis, who's the COO for the Las Vegas-based Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow. All right, Mr. Hollis.
Good
How are
morning,
you, sir?
everyone. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
And thank you for having me. And hello, Marie and Miss Powers. I enjoyed you all last week for the visit. Just to tell everyone, my camera is here, but I have multiple screens. I'm doing this, but I am here. I'm glad to be with you all today. So my name is Michael Hollis. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Foundation for an Independent Tomorrow. We call it FIT for short down here in Southern Nevada. Workforce development program, I'll get into all of that. I was so excited when Ms. Powers invited me to present to you all today because reentry has pretty much been my life. So I have spent 15 years from the custody side of working for the Department of Corrections to now the social service side. And I studied in my master's program now, and I'm in a doctoral program focusing on reentry as well. So when I tell you I live and breathe it, that is me. And many people ask me, do I have the solutions to it? And I still say no. I may be in the field, but I'm not a complete subject matter expert yet. Can you all see my screen? You see the presentation up?
Yes, it's up.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move through this. So when I think about reentry, it's a complex issue. And just being in the space of policy and working for a nonprofit that focuses on reentry solutions, it's never ending pretty much. So it's a cycle of mass incarceration. So pretty much in this presentation, I'm using a lot of national data. And then towards the end of the presentation, I'm going to get more into what we do here at FIT. So I think that the key part in reentry is addressing the barriers. A lot of the individuals come to us and they have barriers for being incarcerated. So we have to work through that, navigate through that area to make sure that they're pretty much successful. Can you all see the second slide, the reality of reentry? Okay. I'm not good at technology. I may look young, but technology is not my friend sometimes. When we speak about the reality of reentry, so these numbers are maybe a little outdated. I think the number is a little bit higher, but nationally, 650,000 individuals are released from U.S. prisons every year. And it is shown that 2/3 are rearrested within 3 years. We have some clients that get out recidivism, they go right back. But I truly believe, just from my area of studying policy, from me being actually in the field, that employment is the antidote to recidivism. That is a key factor to allowing individuals to live a self-sufficient life and not returning back to the prison walls. So I always think to myself, what can be done to help people who are released from prison, from keeping them from being rearrested? They have no job, no money, and no place to live. So they often find themselves facing the same pressures and temptations that landed them in prison in the first place, because they go back to those same environments or they have the same mindset. So assisting offenders in finding and keeping employment, identifying transitional housing, receiving mentoring, those are 3 key elements to successful reentry reintegration in our community. So a key thing to this is there are a lot of barriers. So individuals come to us and they are not successful, and sometimes they go back into custody because they have barriers to them being employed, or they have barriers to housing, and they don't know how to navigate those areas. So that's why it's important to have agencies like FIT to assist these individuals. So employment barriers is a key factor. Criminal justice backgrounds, they reduce job opportunities. There are a lot of employers that are not second chance friendly. So I know here what FIT focuses on is second chance friendly employers, employers that are able to give the individuals a second chance to say, hey, we know that you messed up and we're able to give you a shot. I always tell the clients that come in house here, even myself, even though I run this program, I messed up myself. I did some things in life that I wasn't proud of. I didn't get caught. So I just truly believe everyone does deserve a second chance, and they need to be given that opportunity to start fresh. Housing barriers. We know that many landlords, especially here in Southern Nevada, they refuse to rent to individuals with backgrounds. Clients, they come here with educational and skill gaps. So they lack credentials and training, and that hinders job success. That makes them less marketable in the field. I'm going to get to it in a few slides, but I always tell the clients that there's a difference between a job and a career. There's a complete difference. Once you get a career, once you get training, you could receive more money. You could get off public assistance, things like that. And then a lot of them come to us with legal and financial barriers, unpaid fines, restrictions on license. So them trying to get into career fields that they want, they have to handle all of that. Sometimes the barriers can discourage individuals. A lot of times they do. I'm not going to say sometimes. A lot of times the barriers do discourage the reentry population from being successful. So that's why we see a lot of them returning as well. And this life is scary. It's scary for a lot of us. I know I'm not incarcerated, and I have to think of different things every day, navigate different complex situations as well. So the role of training in overcoming barriers. So as I was stating in the last slide, training, it provides marketable skills in growing industries. We know Vegas is booming down here. We have a lot of different trades, construction is going on. And it increases employability and reduces job application discrimination. A lot of times individuals get discouraged because they have put in 60 different job applications and they have been told no by all 60. So they're like, what's the use, and keep trying, they're just going to tell me no. So they have that mindset already coming out. And it helps the individuals gain financial independence and stability. Workforce development, a lot of the workforce development programming, the long-term goal is self-sufficiency. We want them to be self-sufficient, live a better life, and able to provide for themselves. And also it builds self-confidence and restores dignity. I always tell people that our career is who we are. It is our identity. And that's a huge part of us. And then I always tell the clients too, a job versus a career. Clients come here and say, Mr. House, I just need a job. And I'm like, I get it. We can give you a job, but FIT is focused on careers. A job is a specific position or role you hold to earn money, often temporarily or focused on a single task, while a career is a long-term path within a particular field, encompassing multiple jobs and experiences built with intention and focus on professional development and growth over time. So I always tell the clients that job and career. I say job is maybe 7-Eleven. You're going to be working at 7-Eleven, but your bills are going to exceed your paycheck. Now you're going to be borrowing from loan companies, and you're going to get yourself into a cycle. Instead of getting a trade or training, get into a career field, advance in that, and be happy with what you are doing. So the data on training and employment. We are huge on data. I'm a huge data person too, because I always look at what works. What does evidence state? What does studies show? Things like that. Because sometimes we have things in our own minds and it's not proven to be fact. It's not proven to be tried and true. So formerly incarcerated individuals who gain employment within a year are 50% less likely to reoffend. I could just take the numbers from FIT, which I will get to later in the presentation, but that is very true. I always say that employment is the antidote. And workforce development and employment is not going to solve the problem of mass incarceration, and it's not going to solve the problem of recidivism, but it can help. When we have a mass problem as incarceration, we need to find little things that can solve those problems to change the systems and structures. Workforce training programs have shown to increase employment rates by 35%. So that's giving back to the economy, helping the economy out as well. And for every $1 invested in job training, communities see $3 to $5 in return in economic benefits. So I think that that is a wonderful thing. And it's helping both parts. It's helping the offender and it's helping the economy. So the question is, why reentry is a good solution? Reentry is I sit in a lot of meetings and it always burns my soul because I sit in a ton of meetings and they're like, we need to stop incarceration. We need to stop incarceration. And I'm like, what are we doing to stop it? You know, it sounds good, but what are we doing to stop it? So reentry reduces recidivism and it lowers crime rates. If individuals have a different path to go on, so it incorporates mentoring classes, helps out with substance abuse, transitional housing to just change their mindset and get them on a different path, we won't see them return back to the institution. Not everyone, because you know some people are going to return based on different circumstances, but it can help a lot of people. It strengthens families and communities by providing and improving financial stability. Again, that's that term self-sufficiency. Saves the taxpayer dollars on incarceration costs. It's crazy how much, I looked at the numbers, I think last year, of how much we pay to house individuals in the different institutions throughout the state. And it helps fill the labor shortages in key industries. You know, when we look at the labor market, and if we identify second chance employers, we can help fill a lot of those gaps that's open right now. And as I stated earlier, I truly believe in my heart that everyone deserves a second chance. As I tell the clients, Mr. Hollis, even though I'm COO here, I messed up. I just didn't get caught for the things that I did. And the question is, are second chances even possible? Absolutely. I always say, as long as individuals are still breathing, there is still hope. I never give up on the clients coming in this building. We see thousands and thousands every year. And rehabilitation is a key thing. I know something I struggle with, and I love all my individuals from the Department of Corrections, but when I worked there, it was not rehabilitation going on. So we've seen a lot of people just getting out and they didn't have any resources or options. So I think rehabilitation is a key part in this, and providing opportunities that promote equity and justice, and people with lived experience can contribute valuable skills to the workforce. I could just tell you the individuals that get released, those are some of the hardest working individuals. The clients here at FIT, they are some of the hardest working individuals with our employer partners because they want that second chance and they are willing to try. They are going to show up on time. So it's just giving them that second chance again to just get back into the workforce in the field. So a major part in this, I always say, you know, government is wonderful, government is nice, but when we look at it, nonprofits are really doing the work. They are boots on the ground. And in order for nonprofits to continue, the funding, and expanding reentry programs is necessary. I know down here in Southern Nevada, we have Hope for Prisoners. I was working for the Department of Corrections when John Ponder first started Hope for Prisoners, and I was working with FIT at the same time. So we are really like the only two organizations I know down here that really focus on reentry, and we have a large population coming to us. So the increased funding will allow for more vocational training programs. I know that FIT particularly received last year, we received AB 525 money and ARP money from the county, and we were able to assist 1,500 more individuals than we normally would. So again, funding can help us reach the masses pretty much. Supportive services like childcare, which is important, transportation assistance, and housing assistance with the role of funding that can go to organizations that specialize in that to help these individuals. I know FIT is just focused on training and employment, but we have partner agencies that we partner with. So it's not, it's a lot of different nonprofit agencies that are geared towards the area of social service. And greater case management and mentorship opportunities. This is one of the case managers here at FIT. Her name is Taylor. She allowed me to take that wonderful picture of her, but the case managers are boots on the ground. They are mentoring the clients. They are making sure the clients are on track. That client has that lifeline to where if they do get off track, they're able to call that person for support, for guidance, for counseling, things like that. And expanded partnerships with employers and apprenticeship programs. With more funding, we could reach out to employers. We could get more individuals employed. We could start necessary apprenticeship programs here based on the key areas in the industry that it's needed in. And then how training reduces public assistance. So here at FIT, we have welfare on site 2 days a week, all day. And my goal to them is I want the clients, when they are halfway done with the program, I want them to be off of public assistance. They may come in the door on public assistance, but I want them off. If we're doing what we're supposed to be doing here, I want a lot of clients to be self-sufficient. So training reduces public assistance. It allows stable employment, means that fewer individuals will rely on food stamps, housing vouchers, Medicaid. It reduces the burden on social services and the criminal justice system as well. And it generates tax revenue from increased employment. So that is a big thing. Public assistance is great. It is great, but we don't want clients on it forever. And I always tell people there needs to be a call to action to support funding for reentry and workforce training programs. That's a key thing for the institutions to partner with programs. And I know that we do have a great partnership with NDOC and all the local jails. I know John Pounder does as well. And then advocate for fair hiring practices for returning citizens. People sometimes, they refer to me as pit bull because I would go before Workforce Connections. I would go to the Senate and Assembly, and I would advocate for these individuals. I believe in fairness all across the board. So I do not mind getting up in front of people and being the bad guy to advocate for someone less fortunate. And encourage businesses to participate in second chance hiring. We do a lunch and learn here quarterly with about 42 employer partners of ours, and that has been wonderful. But just educating the employers to get out of the mindset that, hey, Johnny may have a theft charge, but Johnny is probably gonna be your best employee. That was his past life. People can change. You know, as I stated earlier, as long as they're breathing, there's still hope. And then join the movement to break the cycle of incarceration. Find what works. It's a very complex issue. This is not just a problem in Nevada, but it's a national problem. So what things can help break this cycle? And then moving on to the greatest organization that you all have ever heard of, and that's located in Southern Nevada, which is Foundation for Independent Tomorrow, FIT for short. So I have been at FIT, as I stated to you all earlier, I was working at the Department of Corrections as a correctional officer, and I was working with Hope for Prisoners and FIT. And then I noticed I was telling clients to do these programs. I didn't really know about John Pounder. I didn't really know about FIT, but I explored both programs, and I love both programs. I fell in love with FIT. I came on board when I left the prison system, started out as case manager, and pretty much worked my way up from case manager, program specialist, assistant director, several positions, but I'm glad to be the chief operating officer now. Have been at FIT for going on 10 years now. So a little history about FIT. We are celebrating 28 years this October. We are a 501c3. Our scope is workforce development. So we serve the unemployed and underemployed individuals right here in Southern Nevada. We provide vocational training, workforce support, and other amazing services and resources. I know Ms. Powers and Marie, they had the opportunity to come down here and see all the magic that we had that day. So I am pretty sure that they could tell you all the wonderful things as well that they experienced that day. FIT, I know we're speaking on reentry, but FIT, we also service individuals that don't have a background. So we do both. But 71% of our population coming to us, they have a background that's creating a barrier to them getting employed. And this is our building. And we are located in a very interesting area. It's the historic West Side. It has a high poverty rate. So this will be on Monday. We have orientation on Monday. Individuals are going to get here tonight when the staff is leaving around 4:30 to line up. So they stay outside all weekend. So when I say the need and when I say that there needs to be more funding for workforce development programs around reentry. So this is our reentry population. Come Monday, it's going to be 80 to 100 people outside. We only take the first 50 in line. So every Monday, and as you see, the line right here goes all the way down the street into other businesses. We have to turn away at least 45 to 50 people. It breaks my heart. I know that we can't service everyone, but that's why I'm always telling everyone I come across that we need more funding in order for us to service these individuals. And like I just stated, they are outside waiting. When we get off tonight, they bring their lawn chairs and stuff, and they are camping over the weekend. I'm here over the weekend doing work, and they're out there waiting until Monday morning when doors open at 8 a.m. So there is definitely a need here in Southern Nevada. As I stated earlier, there's two reentry programs, Hope for Prisoners and FIT, and this is how many people that are coming to us. So I'm pretty sure John Ponder's having the same issue. So services provided, these are two of our amazing clients who allowed their picture to be on here. So FIT provides funding for vocational training, tuition, books, school supplies, licensing fees, CPR classes, certification tests, application fees. We also do on-the-job training as well. So we pay a percentage to the employer to allow the participant to work at their organization. We help out with workforce prereqs. We all know, well, down here in Southern Nevada, sometimes in order to work, you need certain items. You need a health card, non-slip shoes, things like that. If the client is not employed, it's hard for them to get those items. So we have a letter of intent service that we do in-house that we could do same-day service for those items. Drug testing, background checks, health cards, work tools. We also give hygiene supplies, gas cards, bus passes, vouchers. Anything to help the individuals get back into the workforce is what we're geared towards. Interesting story about this individual. He was late to work a lot, and the employer called me and said, "Mr. Hollis, I am going to, he's going to get fired because he's showing up late, and I just can't have this." So I brought the client down. I was very hard on the client, like, "Why are you showing up late?" This is one of our employer partners. Kind of find out he had to walk like a mile to work. So FIT went out. I will get to the other slide about diversified funding. We went out and bought him a bike. He has not been late since. So it's things like that that we could assist to help the client with to make sure that they are successful. Both our reentry clients that have been doing successful and have not returned. So services continue. Right now in the building, we have about 80 people in our building doing different workshops, classes, case management. We do job readiness workshop, resume, digital literacy courses, financial, job search assistance. It's a lot of other service. Whatever the client needs, we are geared towards. Something that I did incorporate in the FIT program is I am focused on asking the ex-offender, what does the program need? What would you have liked FIT to do or help you with? And they give us a lot of feedback, and I'm able to incorporate that in our program. I shared when Marie and Ms. Powers were down here that we recently incorporated a computer basics course. Maybe like 4 months ago, clients were coming to us just being released, and they did not know anything about computers. And a client shared with me, "Mr. Hollis, I don't know your world, I don't know your life, but this is the way I am." So I had to meet that client right where he was at. So we incorporated computer basics to where we help them depending on their level. They may need to know this or mouse. This is how you turn it on. The way of the world is you're not filling out paper applications anymore. You're going to a kiosk or submitting stuff online. So that computer basics class has been full since the day that we started it. So I have realized that it's the old proverb, it takes an entire village to raise a child. I always say it takes effective partnerships to change a community. I notice FIT, we are great at reentry and we do it well, but we are not great at everything. So we are community connected and resource driven. I am blessed that half of our case management team, they are licensed social workers. We have 14 case managers. They are all licensed social workers. I applaud them and I love them and respect them in such a way. My background is all policy, so I don't have a degree in social work, but they're able to triage those clients, assess them, and get them connected to whatever resources or services that they need. As I was stating, we try to make ourselves a one-stop shop. So we have a lot of services on site. So everything that the client pretty much needs or have told me, we have brought them on site. So we have different partners on site. They're able to triage and do same-day services, and that eliminates all excuses for clients saying, I can't get over to this area. We'll go right across the hall. If you made it to FIT, you could go meet with this partner right now. So that's welfare. That's DA Family Service, CCSDA.ed, Nevada Legal Service, Ask a Lawyer, NAAA classes. And case management, this is some of the individuals from my case management team, our wonderful staff. So the case managers, what everyone asks me, how is FIT successful? I always say, if we leave the data out of it, it's the staff. It's the individuals that come here with the heart to serve the population that's coming through our doors. So the case managers, they complete a whole biopsychosocial assessment. Even though we're focused on training and employment, we're addressing the whole person. So it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We're going to address the base first and work our way up. We do all different assessments. We do labor market information, drug and alcohol use, criminal history. We do individualized case plans. There's no cohort models here at FIT at all. We tailor the case plan specifically to that client, and they stay with the same case manager from the time they enter this program until the time they finish. We stay with the client a year and about 4 months. Career counseling, individualized employment plans, vocational goal planning, one-on-one financial coaching, mock interviews. We pretty much do it all, anything to make sure that they're successful. The different programs we have in-house, we have the Reentry Initiative Program. It's actually called Pathways Forward Reentry Program. That is for post-release individuals just getting out of incarceration. We also have Department of Labor funding, which is a pre-release grant to where we are operating in all the local jails right now. And we have the Employment Empowerment Project, and that's for individuals that don't have a background. As I stated earlier, we help both with background, without background. A blessing, and that's why this is so key, diversified funding. FIT has diversified funding, so we just don't rely on one funding stream. We receive WIOA funds, Department of Labor funds. We just wrapped up the county ARP funds, State Assembly Fund, DETR, located inside the FIT building. This is our donor wall. So these are all of our private donations. So individuals that don't have a background, our private donors give money every year. So if one of you are sitting on this commission and you want to give us some money and have your name on the wall, feel free to do so. Just contact me after, okay? We also have, what makes FIT unique is we have a school upstairs. So on the second floor, we have the Standards of Excellence Academy, which they offer the program CNA, CDL, automotive technician, forklift, warehouse, phlebotomy, CPR, and AD classes, and the OSHA certification. So if the client does want to stay on site and do training, they have that option as well. Again, trying to make it a one-stop shop to eliminate all excuses. So the first step in getting started with the FIT program is orientation. So as I was stating, this is how many people are going to be in the building on Monday. We take the first 50. I'm projected to take the first 55 in line, but those lines will start when we're leaving here today at 4:30. And the success, so FIT's measures, we measure our success off 3 measures. So the number of people employed, the amount to which their income increases from them getting employed. And we're talking about employment with them receiving a training and getting employed in that field that they were trained in. And then also the amount by which their dependence on public assistance decreases. So last year we were able to assist 1,243 individuals. So we are all about data. We track our data in-house. We are data. If you come in my office, I have a whole whiteboard full of data. It will probably drive you crazy, but I love it. So impacting generations, and this is an actual story from one of our clients. So I'm just going to read it to you. After spending 8 years incarcerated, Chris was determined to rebuild his life. Upon his release, he sought support from Foundation for Independent Tomorrow Fit, eager to create a stable future for himself and his daughter. Chris began his journey by attending orientation, where he learned about the resources available to him. He actively participated in fit stages to employment job readiness classes, staying in contact with his case manager to develop a case plan tailored to his short and long-term goals. With guidance, Chris identified a career path that will provide stability and independence, earning his Class A CDL license through vocational training. Through dedication and perseverance, Chris completed his training and secured employment as a professional driver. This achievement was a major milestone, but for Chris, success became real in a much smaller yet deeper meaningful moment. One day, his daughter came home from school and asked for $4 to buy a snack from the student store. For many, it could be a simple request, but for Chris, it was everything. For the first time in a long time, he could provide for her without worry or hesitation. That $4 moment symbolized his hard work, paying off not just in financial stability, but in the pride and confidence that came with being a father who can meet his child's needs. Today, Chris's daughter goes to school every day with money in her pocket because her father is self-sufficient, stable, and thriving. His journey is a testament to the power of dedication, opportunity, and the unwavering love of a parent striving for a better future. Chris's story is just one example of how FIT empowers individuals to overcome barriers and create new beginnings. That story touched my heart. And I share that everywhere that I go, because you don't realize Snack Shack is a big thing in elementary school. And now she's able to go and get those corn nuts or popsicles, whatever she buys every day. And that wraps up everything that I have to say. So I'll yield it back to the chair. I don't know the structure of this. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but if they do, I could definitely answer any questions.
Mr. Hollis, that was terrific. Thank you very much for your presentation. Do any of our commission members have some questions for the gentleman?
I have a quick question, and it may be
Let me interrupt you real quick, Judge Yeager. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Can we release the screen back so that
Oh,
we
yes.
get all the people back on that, just so I can make sure I can see hands if anybody wants to jump in. Perfect. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
okay. So I know that there's a great need, and so people go 4 a.m, whatever, to line up. Have you ever considered or tried making appointments? Has that been successful, unsuccessful? Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, years ago we did. So right now, currently we do a referral line and we do a general population line. So we have a lot of our specialty courts to where they refer individuals. So we take individuals from parole and probation as well in a separate line. We used to do appointments. A lot of people weren't showing up for the appointments. So now we just do first come, first serve in the general population line. We thought about bringing back appointments, and those individuals that don't show up, we could just take from the general pop line. So we're working on a system right now to get that started.
All right. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
May I just make a comment, Chair?
Sure.
You saw the picture of the line and he's talked about that a lot. That was very striking to me when I was there. And we interviewed 3 of the participants and they told us their whole stories. And each of them had gone there more than 1 week because they didn't realize that the line existed. And so they told the story of being there and realizing, oh, I have to be here earlier. And oh, I'm still not going to be seen. I have to be here much easier. And 2 of them told me, we brought our lawn chairs, we stayed the night. It was just very striking.
Anybody else have any other questions? Trying to scroll through all of our membership here. All right, I don't see any other questions. Mr. Hollis, thank you again very much. I tend to think when we don't have a lot of questions, it's because the presentation was pretty all-encompassing. So again, very well done. It's a great organization that you're involved in. I know years ago, and Judge Yeager knows this as well, we used to have this program called Going Home Prepared in the court system, which was probably a microcosm of a little bit about what FIT does with reentry help with people. And unfortunately, they just kept putting more and more people in it, and it kind of cannibalized all of its resources and lost its effectiveness. So I get it where you've got that line of people and you've got a finite amount that you can provide assistance to and not cannibalize all your resources and lose the effectiveness for what you're doing. And you're right, that is heartbreaking, but it sounds like you guys are doing a terrific job. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we will go ahead and close agenda item number 6, and we will move on to agenda item number 7, which is our data reports from Deputy Director Bonacorsi. And Jenna, I think it was in the well, I'll let you handle the presentation and just kind of bring up where it is you wanted to defer the homicide discussion.
Thank you, Chair. Get it all set up here really quick. I only have 2 screens, and so there's a lot of different screens I'm monitoring this morning, so it's always a little bit of a search to find where my next screen is. For the record, my name is Jenna Bonacorsi, and I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Sentencing Policy. And today we are going to be continuing our conversation on the Nevada Department of Corrections young adult population. We're going to be doing a quick review, since it has been a few months, of the age group and kind of how they fit in the general population, as well as looking at their bookings maximum length, the top 15 offenses these young adult offenders are serving, the number of offenses on their entire booking, and looking into their prior criminal history. If you were not at our last meeting or had not been able to see yet our presentation, we should be having a report come out once we have fully concluded the young adult. But in the last presentation is where we discussed more of the offense groups and felony categories was in that presentation. So this one was kind of just answering a couple of questions and that had been brought up from there as well. Like I said, this is going to start with a review of all ages before we continue our conversation for the young adult offenders. So most of you have probably seen this slide quite a few times now, but just to recap, from 2017 to 2023, the Nevada Department of Corrections population overall dropped by 23.44%, or 3,215 offenders. When we look just at the young adult population over those last 7 years, we see that the young adult population is described as being offenders less than 24 years old. We also have a few offenders who were adjudicated as adults, who are juvenile offenders, so they are also included here. They are a very, very small portion of this population. Here we are looking at the bookings maximum term length for the young adult offenders. So in 2017, 831, or 59% of the young adult offenders had maximum sentences of less than 9 years. By 2024, that reduced to 387 offenders, or 45% of the population, with an over 50% reduction in that group. Meaning that over the last 8 years, the young adult population has been comprised of a larger percentage of long-term offenders. Looking just at 2024, we see there are no offenders serving life without the possibility of parole sentences. And historically, there is only 1 or 2 offenders who were serving booking maximums without the possibility of parole. 5.26% of young adult offenders in 2024 are serving life with the possibility of parole sentence. And you'll see here that maximum group carries with 2024 of the 5 to 9 years is the largest category. The top 15 offenses on the bookings for young adult offenders in the Nevada Department of Corrections as of December 2024 represent 59% of all of the different offenses. The other category that you'll see here, which is that large dark blue section, that represents over 100 unique offenses, totaling up to 41% of all offenses being served. When I was going through that data, it was a lot of instances that maybe only 1 or 2 offenders were serving that specific offense. The most common offense being served by that population is robbery, which comprises 16% of the total offenses, followed by the use of deadly weapon enhancement at 13%. All other percents that you see here, so starting with conspiracy to commit robbery and down through the rest, and including that other category when broken out individually, each offense only represents at maximum 4% of the population. So it's a really diverse population in terms of what offenses they are serving. As of December 2024, 35% of young adult offenders only had 1 offense on their booking. 36% had 2 offenses, and the remaining 39% had 3 or more offenses on their booking. The offender with the largest number of offenses had 19 on their booking. For the young adult population's prior jail incarceration, we see here that 655 offenders had 0 prior in prison incarcerations, representing about 77%. 14% had 1 and 10% had 2 or more. For the number of prior terms of probation, 70% had none, 26% had 1, and 4% had 2 or more. For the number of prior terms of prison incarcerations, 24% had none, 71% had 1, and 5% had 2 or more. That wrapped up our conclusion on the young adult offenders population, given the data that we have at this time. If the commission has further questions into the young adult population, we are more than happy to continue looking into that population group. For looking forward, our department has been asked to look into the female population because there has been some interesting trends happening with them, as well as a deeper dive into habitual offenders, as well as felony murder, and of course, continue 2025 legislative support. And with that, does the commission have any questions for this part of the presentation today?
Anybody have any questions for the Deputy Director? Dr. Bradley.
Hey, thank you. So the last graph or bar chart that you had, it said that, okay, so 655 had no prior jail incarcerations, but 607 had prior prison incarcerations. I'm not sure that I totally, does that mean sentences? Because the people that would have been in prison prior would have had some jail time.
Yes, the prison incarcerations number, the one that is pulling off of, jail incarcerations on the way that is calculated in DOC is just, if I'm correct, George will be able to probably provide better on that, but to my understanding, that's just jail incarceration. So their whole time that they served was in jail, where prison incarcerations, they might have had credits of time served being in jail prior to being sentenced, but their sentencing was not a misdemeanor, it was a felony sentence, if that makes sense. Georgia will be able to explain that a little bit clearer, I'm sure.
Yeah, Dr. Bradley, you are correct. It's conviction. So when it talks about jail incarcerations, it's if they were convicted of a misdemeanor and spent time in jail, not, as Jenna said, the credit for time served. So the people who had the prior prison incarcerations may have been in jail, but were not convicted of a misdemeanor and then went to serve their felony.
Is it specific to misdemeanor, or just any jail sentence at all?
Any jail sentence, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Now I don't see any other hands on the screen. Okay, thank you for that part of the presentation, Jenna.
Thank you. And like we had mentioned slightly earlier in the beginning of this, we have decided to postpone the second part of agenda item 7, which was going to be the NRS 178.750 report. And we plan to have that ready for presentation at our May 16th meeting. And so with that, we have no more data reports to present today, Chair.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, then that will close agenda item number 7. And we'll move to agenda item number 8, our future meetings. We had listed on the agenda the upcoming meetings, which are May 16th and then July 18th. Both of those are virtual meetings. And then currently we have September 19th, November 14th. Those will be determined a little bit down the road in terms of the nature of those meetings. But just kind of keep those on your calendar if you would, please, so that everybody's aware. Additionally, staff's already working on topics for those. As Ms. Bonacorsi just said, we're going to move that homicide report under Chapter 178 over to the May meeting. As I mentioned earlier, the misdemeanor subcommittee update, we're not going to have that in May either. We're going to have that come back in July. But if anybody has any other topics that you want to communicate to staff, we can get those on the agenda for those future meetings as well. Anybody have anything right now that they're thinking of that they want to bring up to get on the calendar for one of the future meetings? No? Okay. Like I said, just reach out to myself and Director Powers and the Deputy Director if you have any ideas for things, and we'll put those on the agenda for future meetings. And with that, we will go ahead and close agenda item number 8, and we will move back, Ms. Bonacorsi, to our second time of public comment. So just as we did during the first period of public comment, if there's anybody on the phone who wishes to testify, you may do so. Those are limited to 2 minutes. And again, if you want to provide anything in writing, it'll go to all the commissioners, and you can submit testimony in writing to the Department of Sentencing Policy with the email address of sentencingpolicy, all one word, at ndsp.nv.gov. For those of you that may be on the phone that want to testify, please remember to mute the device upon which you're watching the meeting so that all sound comes through your phone. And we will ask Ms. Bonacorsi to navigate through if we have anybody on the phone that wishes to testify.
We have no callers who would wish to testify, Chair.
Okay, I should have asked you that before I went through that whole spiel, huh?
It's all good.
All right,
Always
thank
nice
you.
spiel.
All right, then we will close our second period of public comment, which brings us to item number 10, the adjournment of our meeting today. It's good to see everybody. I appreciate your time today and your participation. And I look forward to seeing everybody in May at our next meeting. So thank you again. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Director Powers, Deputy Director, thank you both very much for your time.
Thank you, Chair.
All right, take care.